ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. On many occasions, we go back to the beginnings of the Jewish people. When our ancestors were in the desert, they left Egypt, and they committed two enormous sins, mistakes. The first one was to build a golden calf. God had just given them the Torah, the Ten Commandments. They had heard the voice of God. Yet, when they saw that Moses didn't appear on time, they built a golden calf and said, Eile Elohecha Israel, this is your God Israel that took you out of Egypt. Very little faith in what had happened just a few days ago. Later on, we see that they are about to enter the land of Israel, but they send explorers, spies, to see what kind of land that is. God had promised them a very rich land, but they want to see with their own eyes. They come back with a report. Two of them say that the land is really what God said, and we will conquer it. But 10 of them say the land is rich, but there are fortresses, there are giants that live there. We will never be able to overcome them. Interesting to note, God forgives us because of the first sin of the golden calf. When you sin against God, He is able to forgive. But when you sin against the land of Israel, apparently God is not willing so readily to forgive you for what you have done. In the first case, we have Moses intercedes before God, and he says, what will the peoples of the world say that you couldn't sustain them in the desert, that you took them out from Egypt in order that they should die in the desert? So God says, Salachti kidvarecha, I have forgiven according to your words. But in the second case, it's not like this. To the contrary, God says, I will remind you in years to come of what you have done. When was that report issued? That was issued on the 9th of the month of Av, the same day where centuries later the Beit HaMikdash was going to be destroyed. The first one and the second one. Many tragedies happened to the Jewish people in such a day, the 9th of Av. Why is it so different in the second case from the first? Maybe God is willing to forego His own honor, but He's not willing to forgive the honor of the Jewish land, of the promised land. But maybe there's something else also. Because our ancestors in the second case said, you know what? Let us designate a new leader and let us return to Egypt. What they wanted to do was erase Jewish history. They wanted to erase what God had done for them by taking them out of Egypt. And that was their greatest sin. I think we reacted with vehemence against Ahmadinejad, the former president of Iran, who said that you have to erase the land of Israel from the map, is because he wanted to negate history. The same kind of attitude, those that negate what happened in the Holocaust during the Second World War, those that want to rewrite history according to their own ideological agenda. We have it maybe in our families too. Those that want to forget certain episodes in our lives. You have to look into your own personal history. Are you really consequent with whatever happened to you before in order to go forward? Well, let us hope that we will continue in the land of Israel for many years. That the lot and the destiny of the Jewish people will always be a positive one. That we will remember the exodus of Egypt that gave us liberty, not only to us, but served as a model to all peoples in the world, that no man is entitled or has the right to enslave another man. We can only be enslaved to God, to the supreme creator of this world, but never to another human being. And I think with these principles in mind, we will realize a fuller life in this world. I wish you and your family well-being.